Many people across eastern Iowa are still feeling the effects of last week's flooding of the Cedar River. We'll start off this morning by giving some updates on flood conditions around the Cedar Valley. According to Waverly city officials, the Cedar River crested over the weekend at 13.17 feet. The city finally gave the okay for people in the southeast part of Waverly to return to their homes on Monday morning. This was after the flooding caused dozens of homeowners to evacuate when the city shut off their house power and gas. One couple who lives in the southeast part of Waverly says they've learned a lot from their flooding experiences. Meanwhile, the city is still searching for answers. The people who live in this house call themselves survivors. Before last Thursday, Norman and Sue Muchler had been through 3 floods in their southeastern Waverly home and didn't think they'd ever see a 4th.
And we were in denial because we just kind of thought, well, that can't happen again, you know. It's happened to us. We've had it already. Forget it. Give it to somebody else. But it did.
The past shows just how vulnerable that southeastern part of Waverly is. City Administrator James Browner says the city started researching solutions after the major flood in 2008.
There was a study done in 2011, a feasibility study to look at what would it take to try to flood-proof that area, and the cost is staggering. Some of it's just because of the way it's located and how it sits in the base of the river, what the floor is.
Browner says the city has made efforts to relieve some of the flooding.
The inflatable dam has been installed, the dry run creek is put in. I know that benefits more the north and the west part of the city, but it's because it could. Not everything can work that's recommended, and everything does have a cost.
The city council will be discussing the recent flooding at next week's meeting and will continue the discussion of what to do regarding the southeast region. As for Muchler, if the flood has taught her one thing, it's to be patient.
To learn to play the waiting game. A flood teaches you patience. Because you have to wait and see what's going to happen next.
The Muchlers are thankful that last night was their last night staying in a hotel, and they will be returning home this morning. Now in Cedar Falls, flood cleanup efforts remain a focus. The city advises anyone who is not a resident of North Cedar Falls to stay away from the area. Inspectors are meeting with residents to complete those safety inspections. Donations for those affected being affected by the flooding are being accepted at Living Water Church at 1210 Lone Tree Road. However, clothing is not needed at this time. Many roads have reopened, but some still remain closed. For a list of those roads and more flood updates, you can go to cedarfalls.com. Now, Waterloo is taking the next steps as the Cedar River is starting to recede. All bridges and roads except the Downtown Railroad Bridge and Park Avenue Bridge are now open. Waterloo had a 3-day notice of the flood and were able to set up storm gates as prevention to the flooding. As of now, it's unknown how many people have been impacted. The city is looking to strengthen their prevention methods for future floods.
Our lift stations, through FEMA and federal and state monies, we were able to fix some of those lift stations. We were able to make some improvements to our levee. We were able to have a chain of communication that I had with staff that had experience about what happened the last time.
Anyone affected in the Cedar Falls or Waterloo area can pick up cleaning kits at Fire Station Number 1 in Waterloo. Flood damaged items can be dropped off at the National Cattle Congress at 257 Ansbro Avenue in Waterloo, and clean sandbags that haven't been used can be dropped off at 1314 Blackhawk Street in the fenced-in area. All other sandbags will need to be disposed of at the Blackhawk County landfill or can be left out on the curb. The pickup schedule for curbside bags will be announced at a later time. Both cities will continue to monitor and provide updates as more information becomes available.